Those in favor? Roll call vote.
Aye, Joe Green.
Aye, Deb Paul.
Aye, John Farrell.
Hi, Jim Butler. Hi, Chad Franz.
Chairman,
Mr.
I'd
Chairman,
like to make a motion to seal the minutes.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Aye, Joe Green.
No, Deb Paul.
John Farrell.
Jim Butler. Chad Franz.
Minutes are sealed.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of clarification, who seconded the motion to come out of non-public? That was, thank you.
All righty. Drew, we're on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Londonderry Town Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Tonight is for our first responders who protect our schools, our people, and who do an outstanding job. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as is our tradition, we start with public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment?
Good evening, Deputy Chief Bernard, Londonderry Police Department. I'd like to take a minute and introduce the town council, town manager, to the two new employees we have at the Londonderry Police Department. It brings us great joy, as you guys have seen us introduce employees in the past, to showcase the efforts that we put in to provide some of the best candidates for our citizens in this community. To my left, right here, is Norm Frank. Norm comes to us from a local agency. He resides locally with his wife and his daughter. And Norman has 12 years of military experience, 5 years of police experience. He'll begin his FTO process here in the next couple weeks after he gets through the administrative fun stuff. He'll take to FTO for about 12 weeks, and we're happy to have him aboard. And next here is Kendra Cooley. Kendra also is a local resident, and she had recently graduated from criminal justice, and she wanted to be a dispatcher to start off her law enforcement career. So we're very fortunate enough to get Kendra. Of interest, as we've talked about many times, it's hard for us to really get all the best candidates because there's a lot of competition out there. And fortunately for us, we were able to get Kendra from another agency that was looking to hire her as well. So I think we're very fortunate that we have brought into Londonderry two more outstanding members to join our police department. So she is already in her training. So this is the members of the town council. It's all yours.
Welcome. Congratulations. Welcome. Congrats.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you again, congrats. Good to see you, congrats.
See you guys tomorrow. One other note, a couple months back, or last month, I had spoke to the town council to brief you folks on milestones within the agency. Unfortunately, I was given some news today that a 21-year lieutenant, Lieutenant Ryan Carney, I accepted his letter of resignation. Ryan has served this community for 21 years. Without question, Ryan has done everything that was asked of him to do. He's held many roles, many leadership roles within the community. It's unfortunate, but this is what happens. People get to the end of their career and they move on to other things. So if you guys happen to see Ryan out and about, if you have the moment, thank him for his service. I know he will be missed. And lastly, on the recruitment efforts and hiring processes, just so we're on the same page, it took us approximately 3.5 to 4 months to hire Norman Frank. This isn't something like any other job where you apply and we can have them start within a week or two. It's very taxing on our detective bureau. And again, they manage significant caseloads. Computer crimes, sex assaults, you name it, they deal with that. And they spend a lot of time doing backgrounds to provide us, to give to you, some of the best employees out there. So again, that's a long process. We'll begin the next phase here shortly. We've given a couple conditional offers last week. Hopefully, it'll pan out. We can be in front of you with more great news and great candidates. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Bernard.
Thanks, Ken.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is public comment. If you'd like to approach the council, you have 3 minutes, and all that I ask is that you be nice.
Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire Court. I have given the recording secretary a copy of my comment, prepared statement that I'd like to
Okay.
read.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. On Wednesday, September 14th, 2022, at a meeting of the planning board, an event happened during the CIP presentation. This town council's representative on the planning board called into question the motives and integrity of the company hired by the school district to do an assessment of their facilities. When I objected, your representative asked me, "What do you have invested in it?" That question was an unethical charge, and it called into question my integrity. It was also accusatory, insinuating that I am on the take or would benefit somehow by the actions of that company. I am here to tell you that that is not true and could not be farther from the truth. I'm a dedicated volunteer. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I am not a real estate broker. I am not a real estate developer. I do not own a construction or landscaping company nor work in the construction or landscaping industry. I am not an architect or an engineer, nor do I work in those capacities. There is no possible way that I could benefit in any pecuniary way or otherwise from the volunteer work that I do for the school district, the town of Londonderry, or the various public philanthropic organizations that I have been a member of. For the past several decades, I have volunteered for and donated thousands of hours of my time virtually every time I was asked, on both the school side and town side of government in this town. The list of committees I have been on and am currently on would fill several pages. But I will tell you currently, I can assure you that my efforts are, have been, and will continue to be purely philanthropic and altruistic. Currently, I will tell you I'm a volunteer member of the Londonderry School District Master Plan Committee, the Master Plan Subcommittee, the Facilities Committee, the Kindergarten Committee, and I volunteer many hours per week for the Londonderry High School Athletic Department. I love the town of Londonderry, and I enjoy giving back to a community that has been a part of my life for the past 44 years. Being accused hurt me deeply and tarnished my reputation, possibly forever. The fact that it happened on live and recorded TV at a public meeting of the planning board by a sitting member of this town council only compounds the issue.
30 seconds.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, that concludes my presentation. I do have for you a formal complaint, ethics complaint on the form that I would like to present to you. And I would also like to request that the testimony tonight be kept as part of the document of my complaint.
Okay.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're still in public comment. Is there anything further for the council this evening? Seeing none, public comment is closed.
Like to make a motion to open public hearing? There are none?
So moved.
We don't have any public hearings.
Good.
New business, resolution of the Municipal Aggregation Committee and Freedom Energy update.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So this is something that has been pending before the Town Council and the Energy Committee for some period of time. In 2020, the town signed an agreement with Freedom Energy, and it was a consulting agreement that was signed by the former town manager after some discussion before the Town Council about an effort to engage in the rulemaking process before the Public Utilities Commission and before the legislature in the area of community choice aggregation. This is an effort to allow municipalities to save money not only on their own energy costs, but also for their residents' energy costs. There has been a more recent presentation that was put on before the town council by a group called Community Power Coalition. And that is a nonprofit group that does involve a number of different municipalities across the state. And they are moving towards the same goal. As I said, in January 2020, the town did go under contract with Freedom Energy. And there was a discussion before the town council about the specifics of that effort. As I said, there is an agreement that is in effect, and we recently met with Freedom Energy, Chairman Farrell and I, at their request to get an update on the status of their efforts under that consulting agreement, and they provided us the following information. Since signing that agreement, Freedom Energy has made filings in the Public Utilities Commission's rulemaking docket. A rulemaking docket is, simply put, a proceeding whereby legislation that has recently been enacted is fleshed out and put into practice. And Freedom has made filings in that docket in an effort to position Londonderry well with respect to community choice aggregation. There is an ongoing process that is taking place before the Public Utilities Commission. Additionally, Freedom indicated that they have been negotiating with our current supplier, Eversource, to access data that is needed to prepare Londonderry's municipal aggregation plan. And they also indicated that there are administrative rules expected soon that will allow the release of this Eversource data to Freedom, which is one of the last steps in the process before finalization of a aggregation plan that would allow Londonderry to move forward with this process. Freedom, not surprisingly, asserted that we should continue to work under the existing consulting agreement for a number of different reasons, to include the fact that there is an existing contract with Freedom, that Community Power Coalition, the nonprofit group that came in and briefed the council in the last 6 or 8 months, is likely to offer higher rates because they will have a much larger customer base across the state, more bureaucracy, and that would potentially generate more costs to pass on to ratepayers. They pointed to the fact that the coalition is regional decision-making, and asserted that we would be abdicating some of our decision-making authority here in Londonderry to that regional group. As well, that the coalition's goal is to become a supplier, which entails market risk bill collection, data collection, and that Freedom offers a more turnkey approach that does not involve these factors. Freedom did make a request of Londonderry, and the request was this. They indicated that at the time we went under contract with Freedom, there was a municipal aggregation committee that was instituted by the town council. The details on that are sketchy after some research that we've done. I haven't been able to locate who was on that committee or if it was definitively formed. But they do indicate that in order to move forward with community choice aggregation in Londonderry and prepare a plan that can come before the town council for review, the next step is for us to reconstitute the municipal aggregation committee by designating members who would sit on that group. So, Mr. Chairman, this is the update after our meeting with Freedom Energy. I'm not sure if I left anything out based on your memory of that meeting, but I'm happy to answer any of the council's questions.
Yeah, if I recall, we had a conversation about the aggregation committee like right before COVID, and then COVID hit. Yeah, then we weren't forming any committees.
That's right, and COVID...
That sounds like what happened.
Exactly. COVID hampered a lot of these efforts, and that's one of the factors that Freedom pointed to for the delay in finalizing this plan.
Okay, questions? Anybody? Okay.
So I'm looking, Mr. Chairman, for some guidance about whether I should post for this aggregation committee, who might sit on it. I'm happy to follow the council's direction or do it on my own in the absence of that direction.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Why do we need a separate committee when we already have an energy committee? Can't it be a subcommittee of the energy committee? Which would shorten the time in which to get a group together?
I don't know the answer to that legally.
Two different charters, I think.
What?
I think they would have two different charters.
Right. I'm assuming that the Municipal Aggregation Committee is a vehicle of state law or state rule, and that that being the case, that it cannot be a subcommittee of another committee. But I can certainly look into that.
My suggestion is that if we're looking at something that has, and this sounds more like we're planning for the future.
Correct.
My suggestion would be is that we have a committee whose job is to plan for the future, and that's the capital improvement, the CIP, the Capital Improvement Committee. I would probably take a look at, and that's designated by charter who's on that. That, at least in my mind, that would give a good representation across the community, because you'd have school, budget, town council, planning, and you'd have a good distribution of people from boards that currently exist. Just an idea. I'm not saying that's what we should do, but that's just an idea.
Yeah, I like it. Sounds good.
I don't even know if those people would be willing to serve. This is not a public hearing, sir.
That's enough guidance for me. I'll continue to take a look at it and try to come back at the next meeting with something more definitive.
That'd be great. Okay, next item, review waste management contract amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I was here, Attorney Ramsdell was here, Director of Engineering and Environmental Services, John Trottier was here, Robert Carey, the environmental engineer was here, and the finance director were here recently to get consensus from the council to move forward with an adjustment to our existing waste management contract. Waste management, of course, is our largest vendor. They are our trash and recycling vendor. And the council gave consensus to move forward with that, recognizing the prevailing economic conditions and the need to continue to receive that, frankly, exceptional customer service and responsiveness that Waste Management has given us. I promised to come back with the actual contractual language that implements the increase of approximately $513,000 over the remaining life of the contract, and that's what you have in front of you. This document has been reviewed by Attorney Ramsdell. It's been carefully scrutinized by staff, and so I am here to get formal authority to move forward with this agreement from the town council.
I'll accept the motion to authorize the town manager to execute the agreement with Waste Management. Questions?
Yeah, just really quick, it's the same exact document we reviewed last time, right? No changes have been made?
So there was not a document that we had presented to you last time because
Well, the changes that we reviewed, I'm sorry.
correct. So right. So there was one. Yes, if I understand the question, I'm sorry, Mr. Vice Chairman. Originally, we came to you a couple of meetings ago with a proposal. You gave us input and direction. We went back and negotiated more, and came back to you at the last hearing with a revised proposal, and it's the revised proposal that's before you tonight.
Okay. I just didn't, yeah, okay, good, thank you.
I just want to say one thing. The Solid Waste Committee was in total support of this, and they thought it was the best move for the town.
Thank you, Councilor Paul.
Beats the alternative in a big way.
Oh, yeah.
So I have, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes affirmative.
Thanks for the work on it.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Hey, one thing I just found here in our packet, and is that it looks like this, I noticed we got a development of regional impact from the town of Hudson.
Yes.
And it looks like, I don't know, I didn't see it on the agenda, so I'm just bringing it up now.
Yes.
It appears that Green Meadows Golf Club that project is starting over again?
Correct. So we received this letter dated September 21st that was sent to us by the Town of Hudson Planning Department, and it states exactly that this effort to bring some kind of logistics user to that large parcel in Hudson is underway again. You'll recall that the version of this effort failed. I think it's fair to say based on public opposition. It was determined to have a regional impact, a potential regional impact, and that's why it's coming to us. I can tell you that it will be, it's being put before the council for awareness. It will be presented to the planning board to see what their thoughts are after discussing it. But I did want everybody to be aware of that because it is fairly high profile and because it did come to me by way of the town of Hudson.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see that says that they propose a modification to the site layout, what they had before, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Thank you for that. Okay, contribution insurance program, the cap for property and liability insurance for 2024 through 2026.
Yes, so this is our insurance company, Primex, offers us a 5% max increase over the next 3 years. It is not guaranteed to be 5%, but they will not increase it above 5%. So the next 3 years for our property and liability, the most it could increase is 5%.
Yes, in today's world, that actually sounds like a deal.
Yes, and we had agreed to this previously back in, I believe it was 21, 22, yes, in 21. We're in the last year of that agreement. This just extends it for the next 3 years as well.
Questions? Well, we can't go uninsured.
I wouldn't recommend it.
That'd be a bad idea. No questions?
So this year, how much is it? Or the next year, the next time it's up? So you're saying up to 5, right?
Yes.
So what are they saying for like the year coming up?
We won't have those numbers until later. I want to say about December is when they send it out.
Oh,
to
like
us.
around budget time?
Yep.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is I did.
No,
the
I
ma-
mean, I think it's a good thing. I was just trying to, it could be 3%, correct?
Correct. So the best way I can explain it, granted in FY22 we had what they call a premium holiday, but if you look at FY21 to FY23, just the town's portion, not the airport aspect, it increased from 21 to 23 about 1.39%,
Okay.
which that's 2 fiscal years, so it's much less than the 5%.
No, I think it's a good thing. I just wanted people to understand that it's not.
It's not a
definitely gonna
guaranteed
be
5.
5%. It could be,
Yeah.
like you said, 1%, 2%.
Yep.
max
If
out
we
at-
have a lot of claims, that would boost it up normally to 9-10%. It'll be maxed at 5.
Right.
However, come the end of this, they may not offer it to us at the end
Years
of
from
this.
now, right, right.
Well,
No,
They'll
I get it.
reevaluate it once again.
Right, thank you.
considering the
Absolutely.
way things are going, 5% is a
Slice of
nice,
heaven.
is a nice safety net. You need a vote to authorize, or do you just need consensus?
I believe we just need consensus to be able to enter into it.
Do we have a consensus to
Good
move
for me.
forward?
Good for me.
Yes.
Okay. Next item. Adoption of the fiscal year 2024 budget calendar. So I haven't seen this yet.
It should be in your packet.
Right before the
Oh,
Hudson
there it is.
stuff,
It's
right
on the
before
back of
Hudson
a
stuff,
piece of paper. Okay. Everyone take a peek here. Fifth. All right, so I would like, we'll wind up having a council meeting on the 7th. I don't know what, can we put a meeting in for the 14th?
Of which month?
November 14th to strictly to follow up on questions from November 5th?
Yep.
I don't want to wait all the way to the 21st. I think that's just too long.
Yep.
And
December 5th to the 19th, Cap?
yeah, not much is going to change that week of Thanksgiving and everything. We can get the one from the 14th in, so we can get our first set of questions through in that. The 5th, the 19th. Okay.
That's if necessary on the 5th, right?
Well, the 5th, we're gonna,
No, the
That's
5th,
the
the
bond
bond
hearing
hearing,
piece.
if necessary.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
deadline for warrants is the 6th.
So that's the 6th, again, goes for the bond. If you're looking to do a citizen's petition warrant article that requires a bond, it has to be in by the 6th. If you're looking for just a citizen's petition, it has to be in by the,
10th.
yes, the second Tuesday in January. So yes, the 10th.
Okay, 18th, 18th. Okay. Deliberative session. Do we know when the school deliberative session is?
The school's deliberative session will be Friday, February 10th,
10th?
10th?
the day before.
That will be
So
helpful.
that's not getting changed. I'm just kidding.
Anybody have any questions on the calendar?
I don't believe they actually can.
Anything less than that, we won't be able to get ballots out from the state. Any questions on the budget calendar?
And I mean, as we have in previous years, you can add to it as well as we're going if
Yeah,
discussions
I
heat
just
up.
think that if we wait from the 5th to the 21st, it's just too long.
Yep, absolutely. I just went with the typical schedule of the first Monday and third, and typically that Monday following, the questions haven't fully arrived yet. So that's why I put it on the 24th
We
or
have,
21st.
yeah, we have meetings, town council meetings, the Mondays before those 2 Tuesdays anyway at the end, right? Checking.
Yeah. Okay. Anything further? All right, that's good. Thank you. Business. I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes as presented in our packet.
So moved.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Everyone's affirmative, it's 4-0. Anything on liaison reports?
Just have one quick one, Mr. Chair, from the Budget Committee. They have opened up the application for the Community Services Grant. The deadline is October
3rd, I believe.
3rd. Just give me 1 second. October 3rd at 5 p.m. And to date, there are 6 total applicants as of this morning.
Yep, I haven't checked since
And
then.
my understanding is there'll be an opening coming up that will need to be posted soon.
I
Budget
believe,
committee?
yes.
And
I
you're
believe
working
Mike
on
will
that?
cover that in his meeting, correct?
I'm sorry, I was trying
The
to,
budget committee opening, you'll be
yes,
covering that?
in my report.
Gotcha, okay. Anything else for liaison reports? I'll check with Deb when she comes back.
Also, just with the community service grant, just for the public to hear, should they have a nonprofit that would like to qualify, what we have done for this is the first business day in October at 5 p.m. is the deadline going forward. So it'll open up every September, and the first business day in October at 5 p.m., it'll close.
All righty. Town manager report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We do, as was just noted, as you just noted, have a vacancy on the Budget Committee. Under Section 9.3 of the Town Charter, the Town Council fills this vacancy until the next town election. I am looking for your guidance on how I should proceed. I would assume that I would be posting this tomorrow morning.
That's okay with me. Is that okay with everybody else? Yep. Okay, Deb, you okay?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Are you okay, Deb?
You answered?
Swallowed the wrong way.
I thought you might have been answering for Deb if she was okay.
That was terrible. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about on liaison reports?
Except that we are having we had a design review for a new development that they're thinking about at the end of Sargent Road, which was very interesting, and it's a very important piece because there's a historical home there. What they're looking at putting in is really nice, but we had a good conversation about it, and I thought it was important for y'all to know about it because it's going to be impactful to the town.
Yeah, well, that's been woods for a long time. That area that they're talking about. So it'll be interesting. Interesting to see how a development blends in with all the recreational traffic. Traffic study ought to be really interesting. Okay, anything else on the town manager report?
A few things, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So I'll just tick down. There is a town manager report that I submitted. I'm going to make it a monthly report going forward and try to capture everything that's occurred in the last month. In the month of September, of course, we had the state primary election. I think it went very smoothly, in no small measure due to the efforts of the town moderator, the town clerk, police, fire, DPW departments, the school district, their staff, and all election workers, including the town council. So my thanks to everyone involved there. I've met a couple of times with the interim superintendent, Dan Black. He and I had the privilege to do a Leadership Londonderry bus tour. This was the first Leadership Londonderry class of the year, and we narrated our way through Londonderry and pointed out some of the sites of importance to the school and to the town sides of government. I think it went off very well.
Yeah, with regards to that, I did talk to Mr. Black and right prior to the meeting, actually, and he was very nice about helping us out for November 8th, and that they were going to move everything to a remote, type of parent-teacher conferences, with the understanding of knowing that there'll be 500 to 600 employees coming into the center of town when we're trying to have 15,000 people vote. So it was really nice, and he was just terrific about it, and the principals and their staff. I mean, everybody's just been really great about it.
Yes, I can't say enough about Mr. Black's professionalism. I met with him again today and talked about issues of mutual concern between the town and the school sides of government. And every interaction I have with him, it has been a good one.
Of course. I will say that just from the outside, from my perspective, I think it's so important to have that relationship between you and the superintendent of schools. And from my observation, I believe that you and Mr. Black have really done a good job, and I would continue to encourage that, building on that healthy relationship. So thank you, and also thank you, Mr. Black, for doing that.
Thank you, Councilor Franz. So Reed Clark, as everybody knows, is leaving town. I attended a send-off for Reed, as did some of the other councilors, that took place at the Rotary meeting on September 12th. There is a grand send-off for Mr. Clark that's scheduled for, I think it's 10:30 out front of Londonderry Central Fire this coming Thursday. There will be a police escort as Mr. Clark leaves town. The town hall will be closed on the morning of October 7th to allow for some very important training for the town hall staff. We apologize for any inconvenience that may cause, but the training is of the highest importance. We're continuing our negotiations with the police patrol union. We have our second meeting scheduled with them this coming week. That's been positive and productive so far. I'd like to give a preview of an update on the Lions Hall that will be coming soon. As you know, we've been working with a consultant to evaluate that structure and should have a final report back to you sometime in October with guidance about what it would take to stabilize the condition of that building and retain that condition for future, and improve that condition for future use. The preview that I would give you is, it's not a small number that you're going to be hearing, but it is important for planning purposes to figure out what the community wants with that building going forward. The Lithia Springs transaction, as you know, was approved by the town council. We're continuing to work on the staff deliverables that are associated with that transaction, and most importantly, working towards that grant funding that we need to close hopefully by the end of the year. We will know in November whether we've secured that grant funding, but all signs are positive. We have some, did you have a question, Councilor?
Well, I just,
I'm sorry.
Not at all.
The Lions Hall, I know you and I had talked about it. Did you ever get the policy together for all buildings and how we would handle them and rent them? Is it possible for all of us to see that policy?
Yes, so the answer is it's not finalized. It is in process.
Okay.
But as you can imagine, that with there are a number of different facilities and different needs, and to include the town common, frankly, to best standardize all of these different town facilities and town assets is a big undertaking. So yes, we are working on it. It will come before the council because there are frankly policy discussions that the council needs to make, as opposed to me and the staff.
Yeah, I just think that would be good to have it all.
I agree, and I think it's a good suggestion.
All right, thank you.
I have some personnel changes on the town hall side as well. As the council knows, Tara Koza, who was formerly our HR administrator, has been promoted to HR manager. She's off to a great start. And Sherry Fuller, who was formerly a clerk's assistant, is moving into the benefits administrator role. Ms. Fuller was also the deputy tax collector. You met Officer Frink and Ms. Cooley this evening, having been introduced by Kim Bernard, Deputy Chief Bernard, and Nicholas Mayer Lewis was hired as a library technician, so we'd like to welcome all of those folks as well. We continued our efforts in the area of economic development. The town planner and I had a number of joint meetings with developers who continue to show interest in projects of all kinds in Londonderry. We're doing what we can on a daily basis to be as responsive as possible to facilitate reasonable development. Looking ahead, we have, as I mentioned, our next round of police patrol labor negotiations. I am speaking at the State of the Region event on September 29th to the Greater Derry Londonderry Chamber of Commerce. We have an important meeting scheduled with DES this week that I can speak more about sometime in the future. And we are, the finance director and I, meeting with different town departments to try to begin the process of working on their budgets. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, a note about right-to-know requests. I've been fairly open about the burden that right-to-know requests have placed on the town at times throughout the course of the political campaign. Those requests continue, and they're not just requests associated with the political campaign. For instance, I received a right-to-know request that I'm in the process of working on now. It has nothing to do with the former town manager or anybody who is running for office. Instead, it is a request that produced, in the first instance, 1,464 pages of records that I alone am in the process of working through. The Right to Know law serves essential governmental functions. Without it, transparent government doesn't exist in New Hampshire. But it is also a reality that there is a burden on municipal staffing and resources. And at the present time, I am the one who is working through those requests. And every hour I spend processing one of these requests is an hour I can't devote to other public business.
And if we were to send that out, we'd be looking at what, $5,000 to $7,000 in legal
I would
fees?
estimate that that would be correct.
Is there a time limitation on when we have to get back to these 91A?
We have to acknowledge them within 5 business days. But if they're not immediately, if the records are not immediately available, which in the case of 1,400 records, that takes some time to go through, we have to give a reasonable estimate of what it might take.
Okay.
At a cost of $5,000 to $7,000 if we didn't do it ourselves.
Correct.
Now, normally, the town manager wouldn't do that because that's not in their skill set. So, just so we're,
And can the town charge back any of that time?
No, that is one of the interesting things about the Right to Know law. We can charge the actual cost of copies, which courts have held are in the neighborhood of 5 or 10 cents a page. But unfortunately, labor costs, staff costs, processing costs cannot be recovered.
yes.
I just wanted to thank Mike for the participation in the Alice Active Shooter Training. I think it's a great move, and I know it may put some people out, but I think for the safety of the staff here and think the schools embraced it as well, so I applaud that decision.
And Mr. Vice Chairman, I appreciate your support and the council's support for what I would just reiterate again is a very important training for us in 2022.
I heard the schools went through it, and it was very well done.
Yeah, I attended the meeting on Thursday.
Did you? Yeah.
700 people attended during the summer on their own time. I mean, I think it's a credit to the entire community. I did speak at it, and, basically what I said is that we had one back in 2010. We're working on a fifth now. Times have changed. But, through the efforts of the council, the voters, I mean, all the SROs that are in there were voted in by the people, generated out of our budget process and
I
everything.
remember we had one when we first started.
Yeah, one.
One.
Yeah.
And
So,
we
and,
kept
you know,
pushing to- yeah.
and, the world is a different place now. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but we do, as I said to them, I said, it is of the utmost importance to this council and to the town's services that we protect that community, which is our most precious assets. So with that, it was a good meeting. The officers were tremendous. The school staff was just absolutely great. The parents that attended were enthusiastically, pleased about, what had taken place. And the teachers that took the time to come in and as the officers put it, invest in their own survival. Sadly, we have to do that today, but thank you to all of them as well.
Mr. Chairman, just one last note. We remain, notwithstanding the recent rain, in a severe state of drought. I offer that for the council's information and any action they may want to take.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while to recover all that rain, all that water. So, all right, anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
With regards to Mr. Di Francisco's complaint, what can he expect? I mean, we took the complaint, where is it gonna go, so people understand where it's gonna go? And what is the process for that?
So I've actually never received a formal complaint before.
That's why I'm asking.
So what I'm going to, the next step that I'm going to take, because in accordance with the ordinance, it comes to the chairman. I am going to take this document that he gave me, I'm going to give it to the town manager. I am going to ask him to send it to me electronically so that I can have it and move into a client privilege conversation with the town attorney and ask the town attorney what is his advice and how should I address this? Because I have not dealt with one of these before. And that will be something that, there's a provision under the charter, but I'm gonna ask him for his advice and what he thinks. And then I'll get back to you. All right, so our next meeting is October 3rd at 7 PM. Following meeting after that is October 17th.
Jim, I just want to let you know, I have an annual outing that's going to take me away from that council meeting. I don't get back till Wednesday,
Okay.
so I apologize for
Where
that.
you going, Bill?
Yeah, National Association of Convenience Stores. Yeah.
Well, I'd say that based on what happened to Wawa, I think you guys, all the convenience stores have some challenges ahead of them.
Absolutely.
So,
Gotta get together
covered
and
on the
figure it out.
national news, right?
Yep.
All right, with that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned.